What is up, everybody? This is Zach Rice. We're back with more of Avernum 2 Crystal Souls. So we're going to continue. This time we're going to explore Fort Ganrick. A rank smell emanates from the narrow space behind the guest quarters. This is where the fort piles its trash before it gets burnt or thrown over the wall. The lizard says, hiss. The torturous political and military upheaval recently experienced by Avernum seems to have left it emotionally unaffected. I love how there are hostile rats back here, though. Okay, so I guess we'll just go ahead and talk to Fort Ganrick. We talked to the captain. Okay. The small woman wears the insignia of a captain, not to mention two long, vicious-looking rapiers. She grants you a short, sharp bow. I know you, though we haven't met. Storeroom detail, yes? I was working in the back caves, but I'm eager to fight. She smiles. I'm glad to hear it. When you came here, you had promise. Time to see if you live up to it. I'm Cecily Vidican, Captain Vidican to you. I think we will have to give you more productive work than we have so far. Doing what? You were sent to us as a potential scout or raider. This is, as it happens, exactly what we need right now. Let's talk. You've been in the upper caves too long. I'll tell you what we need from you. Outside, you can hear the guards open the iron front gate. You are now free to leave the fort. What would you like me to do? Before the Empire attacked, this was a peaceful mining area. Then, the Fang clan Nephilim snuck up here, wiped out the miners, and got established. We were told to hold them in until we can root them out. But that is no longer enough. The Nephilim have built a crude fort to the east and grown belligerent and numerous. We need you to help weaken them. It's a small threat compared to the Empire, so I shouldn't need to send more than you. Are you sure that they will attack again? Yes, they've made raids in the past, but nothing like this newest raid. Small sorties we can handle, but we're not ready for a pitched battle yet. She thinks. If we do get attacked, we'll need your help. Be sure to use the armory. You really think I'm strong enough to destroy the fortress? I don't know. Everything we do now is an act of desperation. You might be able to get some help in Fort Draco, not far to the southwest. Go there and speak with Commander Anford. He might find a good way to use your skills. We need everyone, even someone as inexperienced as you. What can you tell me about the tribe? They're only just getting settled in. They're trying to match our strength. We're ahead, but they're catching up and getting aggressive. Hopefully you can snuff them out before they attack again. Find and kill their chief. He's a nasty Nephilim. Do that, and that should blunt their spears enough for us to deal with them. Describe their outpost. The Kitties have established their lair to the east. We don't have the troops for a frontal assault, but we have high hopes that a small band can sneak in and do some damage to keep them off guard. The hard part is getting inside. She pats her blades. We have to do something before they attack again. We're ready, but not that ready. Tell me about the gate. The Kitties have a big, trapped gate in the front of their lair. It'll be hell to get through without a huge force. We think they must have a back way in, but we don't know where it is. Are there other ways in? It is possible, even likely. These tunnels are honeycombed with old mines. If you explore the area around the Nephilim fort, who knows what you might find. Captain Vidican waits impatiently to see what else you have to say. Speak up. Too much work to do. What is it you do here? I'm trying to help this fort get established. That's why you were sent here. There's a Nephilim outpost to the east. Very hostile and needs to be dealt with. Has there been much Empire activity up here? She grimaces. They haven't attacked up here much, but more than enough, let me tell you. The Nephilim only made things worse. Of course, their raids have slowed down now that the barriers are up. Tell me about the barriers. They appeared a few weeks ago. Massive magical barriers that cut off our roads and split Avernum into many little pieces. At first, we thought that the Empire made them. However, they seem to stop Empire soldiers too. Our wizards are working on it. That's all I know. How is the war against the Empire going? Badly. I don't know many of the specifics. Been out here for a while, but definitely badly. Surprise Nephilim raids don't help. How are you recovering from the surprise attack? Badly, but we'll manage. She shakes her head, disgusted with the whole situation. We found the cracked walls they were able to use to get in. It will be repaired soon. People are recovering from their wounds, and we'll get reinforcements as soon as we can. There is a large journal sitting on this pedestal. The cover announces it to be the memoirs of Bidikin, officer of the Avernum army. Though this is someone's private journal, its public placement seems to be inviting you to peruse it. The journal describes the career of Captain Bidikin in the Avernum army, a career that began about 8 years ago. It's a long and tedious work, painstakingly scratched out on Avernum's crude papyrus. However, 2 recent passionate entries written after the beginning of the Empire War catch your eyes. The first entry: I am surrounded by fools. No, not fools. Smart people, driven to foolishness by their fear. Yes, we fight the Empire in all its might, but this is a war that can be won. Think of it. They have soldiers in the hundreds of thousands, but they can only send them down here a handful at a time. The mighty Empire, forced to fight us on a one-to-one basis. What is more, we are familiar with the caverns, and they are not. We are on the defensive with all the advantages that come with that position. And, best of all, we have the strength that comes from knowing that one is on the side of right. Yes, this will be a long, cruel war, but we should not give it up, whatever comes. Of course, if the Empire did ever develop a way to transport massive numbers of soldiers into Avernum, well, that would be a different, shorter story. Even if we did have an escape route to the surface, we would have to seal it. Ironic. A second entry some weeks later. Victory! Our first victory against the enemy! Oh, had I but been there to see it. As opposed to in this remote and unimportant outpost, we defeated them, not with strength or training, but with guile. A dozen of our soldiers led 2 full hundred of them down a side gallery west of Fort Remote. Then our mages sealed the tunnel at both ends. A large Empire force, dead in a moment, without a single loss. True, this is but a single victory in a long chain of setbacks. Still, we have proven one thing. They are human, and, like all humans, they can die. And if it takes a little help to achieve that end, well, it's not like we have anything better to do. Okay, well, we're not gonna... Well, one thing about stealing in this one that's different from the first Avernum game is that no matter what, if somebody's nearby, you cannot steal an item. So you can really only take it when somebody isn't around. And this is actually a refreshing change, though, because it does prevent you from accidentally stealing and getting you in trouble when no one's around. So it is actually a good change, in my opinion. A scrawny man wearing the plain robes of an apprentice mage is reclining on the bed. He seems to have a headache. I'm Ian. Who are you? He looks you over. Oh, soldiers. Go away. What are you doing back here? Go away. I have a headache. Are you aware that the fort was just attacked? He presses the heels of his hands into his eyes. What? Is that what that sound was? Well, the attack sounds over. Leave me alone. You know magic. Do you know how to bring down the magical barriers? Of course not. If I did, I wouldn't be stuck here. I saw them appear. They blocked the passage just south of where I camped. A little further south, and I would have died in my sleep. I have no idea what to do about them. He stopped speaking. The act of speech is making his headache much worse. What's wrong with soldiers? You're here to help against the Nephilim, right? I thought so. Well, go run off and do something. There's a good chap. My head hurts. You have a headache? Yes, from my journey. Wake me if we get attacked. Perhaps you should be defending this fort a bit more aggressively. He's getting angry. Look, I've had a hard trip, and I shouldn't be here anyway. I'm supposed to help an attack, and I will. Until then, leave me alone. We better just go ahead and leave. We're not gonna. As you depart, he sighs in relief. You know what's funny is that in the original Avernum 2, this was actually the room you start out when they didn't have that upper storeroom level. This was the room you started out in, and then you had to walk out to get to the Nephilim fighting outside. So it is an interesting change with how you start out the events in this one. Honestly, don't mind it. It's a few refreshing changes after another. Again, you don't need to be carrying food around, although there is a more instance of even this one that, like the first Avernum, but still really food is not a requirement to carry on in this game anyway. That's a necessity. You meet a harried, balding man sorting through account ledgers on his desk. He doesn't want to slow down his work to talk to you. I'm Gridley, he mutters, and I don't have much time to chat. What is your job here? I'm the quartermaster for Fort Ganrick, and I need help. What does the quartermaster do? I keep track of supplies. Well, that's supposed to be my job, but I also cook and clean and hold the soldiers' hands. Try to get everything in shape before we get attacked. Since you give out supplies, you could give me stuff, right? Oh, you need things, do you? Ask Thessaly, the captain, about supplies. He'll tell you what you can have. It won't be much. Fort Ganrick's quartermaster watches you impatiently. Tell me about Fort Ganrick. Lovely, isn't it? Put together in a hurry. Staffed even faster. We keep asking Fort Draco for help, but they have their own problems. We do the best we can. What do you ask Fort Draco for? We need help more than anything. More people, more supplies. As things are, we can't hold up under a serious attack. We can't keep asking Fort Draco for supplies, but the Empire has them so scared they won't spare anything to fight the Nephilim. You passed Fort Draco when you first traveled to this fort. It's just a little way to the south. He thinks. Say, if you are ever there, could you tell Commander Anford that we are desperately short of javelins? I would love to hear his latest excuse for why he hasn't sent any to us in weeks. I'm on a mission to assault the Nephilim. I could not care less. Go see the captain if you need something. He points to the north. Say, can you give me any extra supplies? He thinks. No, nothing you don't earn. But I'll tell you what, there was a shipment of arrows and bolts being sent up here. Disappeared. Brigands, I think. If you ever find a sign of what happened to it, let me know, and I'll see what I can do. Try looking to the south. You might find something. No other clues for me? Well, I sent out trackers, of course. It didn't do much good. They did find a few broken arrows on the path near the Verdant Valley, but I'm not sure if they were some of our arrows. Verdant Valley? Sounds lovely. It's not. Name is more of a joke than anything. I mean, plenty of green things growing there. Mold, slimes, goblins. But it's not a friendly place. Good cave for brigands to hide in, perhaps. I like to trade with you. You mean that you want to actually replace the precious goods you take away? Well, there's a first for everything. I'm happy to barter for whatever you scavenge on the battlefield. Let me see what you can spare. Ridley can only spare a little bit of equipment, and it's not quality stuff. The castle really doesn't send decent supplies out here. Okay. I don't need anything. Then let me get back to work. I need to determine where all the Nephilim Raiders destroyed. What all the Nephilim Raiders destroyed. He returns to his papers. So yeah, he's had some supplies, but it's not that great. But we can definitely take advantage of this armory here. Okay. And nothing we don't particularly need right there. We'll take this cloak though, and we'll take these pants. Yeah, really not that much, so. In the north wall of the storeroom, you notice that one of the bricks looks discolored. It also sticks out of the wall farther than its neighbors. Odd. To use something unusual like this, click on it. Okay, so we have a return life scroll. We'll go ahead and equip that on her. Rusty helmet. Let's go ahead and switch that out. Nothing we need here now. This section of wall slid away. Beyond it is a small, dusty tunnel. It looks like they started to build an extra ring of the fort and then abandoned it. A few extra supplies were stuck back here and forgotten. There are Nephilim tracks in the dust. This must be how some of the invaders got in. Okay, we're on the verge of encumbering Moses here, so let's be a little bit more careful now. At last, you step out of Fort Ganrick. You are stuck doing brute labor no longer. At last, your adventures can begin. To leave the fort and explore the vast world of Avernum, step on the colored floor to the south. We already have a few quests already we can do. Even though I'm not going to focus on parry for Moses, he is still going to be my frontline fighter taking a brunt of some of the damage. But hardiness always helps in these sort of situations anyway. We need to also keep him healed as well. For a fighter especially, you want to focus on hardiness primarily at first, because you want to be able to tank a little. But we are going to have to rely on armor for our parrying. I don't think picks or shovels are required a quest item. I don't know. I have to go check. But they definitely were in a previous Avernum game where you had to gather at least a whole bunch of stuff. And it took up a lot of inventory space, so that was tedious. Okay, so that was just another way to get in here. They are definitely going to have to seal that up soon. Part 1, the barriers. You step out of Fort Ganrick and into the winding, remote tunnels of northeastern Avernum. This region has been cut off from the rest of your nation by massive, magical barriers. Nobody knows who created the barriers or how to remove them. If nothing is done about them, Avernum will not survive. For now, your orders are to deal with the colony of rogue goblins and Nephilim to the east. In the meantime, you'd hope to find a way to remove the barriers. It seems unlikely, but at this point, hope is all that Avernum has. You find scatterings of ruined mining equipment, carved totems, and bones. The debris is littered throughout the passage to the east. You must be getting near the land of the Nephilim tribe. You are almost to the new Nephil settlement. They've left a small group of guards outside. They're goblins, small, frail, craven creatures, about 8 of them. They see you immediately. They're a few hundred feet away. The miserable beasts clearly don't want to care to fight you. They watch you carefully, hoping that you just go away. They regretfully pick up their crude weapons and move to attack. They are already resigned to quick, horrible deaths. Their fatalistic attention to duty in the face of overwhelming odds serves as an inspiration to us all. Ooh, Seraphina is running out of spell energy quite fast too. The Nephilim are pretty strong, so I think I will go ahead and get help at Fort Draco before we take on the Nephilim fort. But I did want to show you all where it is exactly on the map. I mean, it is your choice. You could go ahead and just start off with the Nephilim fort and not worry about Fort Draco, but you do want to gain a little bit of experience first. You step gingerly through piles of trash and shallow pools of filth. This tunnel serves the dual purposes of sewer and garbage pit for the Nephilim. You see many bones from a variety of sources. Okay, so this is the front entrance here. The cave wall to the east is very uneven and jagged. The surface is interrupted by a number of cracks. It looks like some of the holes might be large enough to crawl through. You'll have to get close to see for sure. Sometimes when you stand next to a wall outdoors, you will discover a concealed passage through it. Okay, so that's the way we are going to go when we get around to taking on the Nephilim castle. You step out into a huge cavern, crisscrossed with rows of large, bloated, carefully tended mushrooms. The air is warm, moist, and scented with just a hint of sulfur. Not unusual for Avernum. The massive cavern is lovely in an austere sort of way. You can see clearly in the green light cast by the glowing lichen on the ceiling. The lichen was created by the Tower of Magi years ago, using strange and powerful magic. It is this luminescent fungus that makes life in Avernum possible. To the southwest, you can see Fort Draco, the largest settlement in the area. Farther to the west, across the river, you see the faint glow of the strange magic barriers which have everyone so concerned. There is a group of heavily armed humans approaching you. Their armor is worn and they look exhausted. They are clearly moving to intercept you. You are soon close enough to see that they are the soldiers of Avernum, patrolling the roads around Fort Draco. They have been worn down by constant skirmishes with goblins and bandits. After a brief exchange of pleasantries, they warn you to be careful and watch for foes. Then they depart. You feel worried. If all of Avernum's soldiers are this wary, the state is in great danger. A rickety stone and wood bridge spans the river here. The grim, shadowy tunnels to the west are heavily festooned with webs, patrolled by spiders the size of your fist. Here it is. Though you had heard descriptions of it, none of them did any justice to this magical barrier. It's enormous. This whole gallery is blocked by a thin, impenetrable sheet of energy, 100 feet high and very wide. When nothing is nearby, it doesn't look like much. barely perceptible shimmering, slightly obscuring the view beyond. Then, when you get close, the barrier springs into life, a hot, angry green, daring you to step forward and be seared. Barriers like this have completely segmented Avernum. If this continues, you are all doomed. The Empire armies will be able to pick the pieces apart one by one. Who could have made these barriers? Who has the power? The Empire? Someone else? All you know is that something must be done to bring them down. And soon, or all will be lost. In the meantime, let's go ahead and head to Fort Draco. And I'm going to go ahead and save the game right here, but I will see you all soon with the next part of the Let's Play.